pain that hunts you, it's not on your back. Did you decide that you were free? I can see your heart is truly changed. Oh, in a second breath, I say your name and I see the light behind your eyes again. I can see your heart is truly changed. Oh, in a second breath, I say your name and I see the light behind your eyes again. I can tell you, I can tell you, I can tell your heart is true, your heart is truly changed. I can tell you, I can tell you, I can tell your heart is true, your heart is truly changed. I've been sitting trying to come up with words to say. It's all in slow motion, I let go, you're slipping away. Going out the window, are you going out the window? Once I woke up, I knew we'd go another day. No one in this world gonna ever take you away. Was it all for nothing? No. Was it all for nothing? No. I can tell your heart is truly changed. Oh, in a second breath, I say your name and I see the light behind your eyes again. I can see your heart is truly changed. Oh, in a second breath, I say your name and I see the light behind your eyes again. I can tell you, I can tell you, I can tell your heart is true, your heart is truly changed.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Oh, this is not good. There's a head in the view. It's June 18th today, and I'm going to do another live coding session with Maarten Stam on Office development. And we started with content controls in Word, Office.js. From Office.js we moved to, for instance, UI Fabric. And UI Fabric appear to be running on React these days. So we go and learn all these new web technologies, or web technology in general. Because I'm a .NET developer and not used to web development, so this is enforcing me to do some web development every week, live on Twitch and YouTube. So let's start this show. Yes, there we are again. I'm wearing my Yo Office shirt today, especially for my office development session. What I'm going to do today is continue with researching React a little bit, and from there moving into UI Fabric and see if we can get some controls up and running with React. And so let's kick in the desktop. Here we are again. Now I need to remember where we could find the tutorial. Last week we built a tic-tac-toe system in React. It was kind of smooth experience, and but it was a long tutorial, so we ended it after 2 hours and continuing today. Let's see if we can find it somehow. Let's do some Google. It's very warm out here. And Google is slow as well. React tutorial 2019. Let's see if we can get the link that we used last week. Oh, I think it was on react.org, I think. This is something different. Come on, Google, don't fake me today. React. First I need to switch my Google account thing to... I don't want this. I want the English version. English, there is English. React. There they are. React.js.org. Take the tutorial, I think it was. Is this the tic-tac-toe system? There's the tic-tac-toe. Where did we get? Square, we built a square. That's what we did, completing the game. Lifting the state up. I think what we are going to do today is remembering the history. I think that was where we left off last week. Immutability, function components, taking turns, declaring a winner. We did that all. And now adding time travel. That's what we're going to do today. A little louder. Let's check if my directory is still available. Data projects, my app, I think it's my app, CMD, core dot, oh, it's not core, it's .NET Core, but we need code, source code. Code dot. Let's see if that's the React tool. I think it is. Yes. Render square. There you have it. Calculate winner. Nice. npm start. Let's see if it still works. System is slow today. Ah, there it is. Let's do some zooming in. Can we zoom it in? Yes, we can zoom it in. Let's always start in the middle. Click. Next player. O. X. O. X. O. X. O. X. No winner. Should actually declare a winner. Yeah, winner. Let's see. So that still works. Let's quit this. No, there's no need to quit. Get back to the tutorial. As a final exercise, let's make it possible to go back in time to the previous moves in the game. We mutated the squares array. Implementing time travel. If we mutated the squares array, the implementing time travel would be very difficult. However, we used slice to create a new copy of squares array every move and treated it as immutable. This will allow us to store every past version of squares array and navigate between the turns that already have been happened. We will store the past squares array in squares arrays is in another array called history. The history array represents all board states from the first to the last move and has a shape like this. So now we need to code this in our thingy. Let's move it in here. And we're doing it by hand because we want to learn something. History equals to array before first move bracket squares, initializing the array to No, 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 comma, copy, paste, paste. I'm not sure why it's got this comma at the end there. Not something I would expect. After first move, there's an update available. Visual Studio Code 1.3531. Let's do this later, as we are now hosting our show on Twitch and YouTube. No installations while we are showing things. After the first move squares, and then we need to copy this. Copy. X. Not sure why this is doing. Are they doing this? Yeah. Oh. Oops. This is not right. This should obviously be bracket first. Delete this one over there and bracket, comma. After the second move, oh wait, the history here, the first move has shape like this, and obviously I think this was not needed. This was just a representation of what it will be after implementation. To explain that in the next step, this will be, for instance, capital O, etc., etc. So this is no longer needed. This. Now we need to decide which component should own the history state. Lifting state up again. We will want the top level game component to display the list of moves. It will need access to the history to that, so we'll place the history state at the top level game component. In the top level game component like this. Placing the history state into the game component. Let us remove the square state from its child board component, just like we lifted up state up from the square component into the board component. We're now lifting up the board up from the board into the top level game component. This gives the game component full control over the board's data, and let us instruct the board to render previous turns of the history from the history. First we'll set up the initial state for the game component with its constructor. And I think we don't have a game component yet, because we have a board component and we have another. Oh, here's the game component. Okay. Yeah, so this will be creating a constructor. Props. super props. As we learned last week, you always have to get the super props in the constructor to have it, I think, bubbling up. This state equals to bracket history, and there's the history array containing the squares of the type array length 9, and we fill it with null. I wonder why it's adding the comma each time after all these items. Must be a reason for it. In the web world, X is next, is true, yeah, like this. Then we have the render returns class game board type game info status to do. Okay, that's it, I believe. Now we'll have the board component to receive square and on-click props from the game component. Since we now have a single click handler in board for many squares, we need to pass the location of each square into the on-click handler to indicate which square was clicked. Here at the required steps to transform the board component, delete the constructor in board, replace the state square item with the props squares item, it's render square, and replace the handle click with the props on click. Yeah. Let's see the board. Now we're going to change the board, removing the constructor that took in. That's now at the games level. This one is now moved to the games. That's interesting. Okay. Delete this. Then instead handle click. For item I. Const squares equals this state squares slice if calculate. Oh, it's already in there. Wait a minute. Handle click const squares, this equals squares slice calculate winner squares square, yes, return squares, this state x is next, set state squares squares, this state is next, render square. This needs to be changed to return square value equals this, and this is changed to props squares on click something like this. No, not something like this, because also this will be the handle click. No, props. On click equals to this props on click, so that should be props on click, and then render. Const winner is calculate winner state squares. Let status is winner, 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 same thing. Plus this state is next. Yes. Return status board square square render square. That's the same. Yeah. Well, update the game component render function to determine the and display the game's status. Let's see. Game component render, that's this one. That needs to be const history equals to this state history, const current equals to history bracket history length -1, probably because it's 0 based. Const winner equals to calculate winner current squares. Oops, that's incorrect. Then let's see, calculate winner, return game board, board will be closed. Yeah, that's same as here. Oh, did I change it? Winner let status if winner status oops, equals to plus winner oops else status equals to next player I think this was already somewhere else. It's over here. In this case it's on the board. Copy. Paste. Let's see. Return. Game board. This should be board. Squares equals current squares on click equals to bracket I fat arrow this handle click. Yeah. Endo diff game info, and now this will be literally, oh shit, oops, come on, status, to do, still to do, since the game component is now rendering the game status, we can move the corresponding code from the board's render method. We can remove the corresponding code from the board's render method. Yeah, that's what we just noticed. It's the winner in the squares. Where's the board? Here. This is the board. Here's the board. Calculator winner is no longer needed. After Effects, the board render function looks like this. So like this can be removed. Return div class. This is changed. Div class name board row render square. Yes, render square 9 times, and that's it. Okay, finally we need to move the handle click method from the board component to the game component. We also need to modify the handle click because the game component state is structurally different. Within the game's handle click method we concatenate the new history entries into history. Okay, game handle click. We don't have a handle click there yet. Let's see, render is this. Ends here. Handle click. history equals to this state history const current equals to history array history length, no length, -1 again, const squares equals to current squares slice if why do we do this again? It's almost the same, I should say. Let's see. History, the state. Stop it. Come on. My phone is ringing, buzzing because it's on mute. Const history, this state history. Const current history, history length -1. Const winner, oh, squares. Okay. Const squares equals to current squares slice if calculate current, no, not current, just squares. Or squares. Item I then return. So what does this mean? Squares I equals to this state this set state goes to bracket, store the squares, squares, let's see. Squares I, this state is next to the X or O. Then this set state, yeah. So you have to say history concat array item squares squares. Comma. X is next. Is not this state. X is next. Flip the X is next. Something like this, and there's something wrong here. Now let's see if we have a match. Const history is the state of history. Const current is history length -1. Const squares is current square slice. If calculate winner squares or squares first item. Now the I item. Then return. Squares I is this state is X is next. Yeah. Then set state to history concat, and then you concatenate all the squares. X is next, not this. Yeah. Unlike the array push, you might be more familiar with concat. Method doesn't mutate original array, so we prefer it. At this point, the board component only needs a render square and render methods, so the game state and the handle click method should be in the game component. Board, render square and render. Board. Doesn't need a handle click anymore. Render and render square. Game should now have handle click state. Since we are recording the tic-tac-toe history, we can now display it to the player as list of pass move. We learned earlier that React elements are first-class JavaScript objects. We can pass them around in our applications to render multiple items in React. We can use an array of React elements. In JavaScript, arrays have a map method that's commonly used for mapping data to other data. For example, const numbers 1, 2, 3. Const doubled is numbers map x times 2. So this will double each value. Using the map method, we can map our history of moves to React elements representing the buttons on screen and display a list of buttons to jump to pass moves. Let's map over the history in the game's render method. Kind of thirsty. Probably been eating something salt. Let's map over the history game method. Let's see. The history in the game. There's the render. Const history state, current history length, calculate winner. Let's this changes. Const moves equals to history let's take like this, step, move, fat arrow, something like this, const disk is move, if that's the case, go to move dash plus move, move I should say, move, otherwise go to game start, I should say. Return a list. We're going to return a list of buttons. Oh, button, and on the button is a click, on click. Everything's turning red now. Button on click, fat arrow, this jump to move, something's going wrong here. Let's see. Did we miss something? Button on click, jump to move.
This beat is my recital. I think it's very vital to use the
And we
force.
add description in there.
Here we go. If I were a Jedi, I could out-rap Buster Rhymes. Going in like Qui-Gon Jinn for the win, I could flow in quadruple time. And at the Canadian
Desk
border, every time I went on tour,
button
I'd be like, this is not
list,
declared MC Lars merch that you're looking for. I could levitate
this,
like Yoda,
like this.
eradicate Ebola. I could pick up girls
Something went wrong over here.
Viola. I could read all of War and Peace in 10 minutes entirely in Russian just to say that I did it. I could even catch a golden snitch playing Quidditch.
Wait, wrong move, innit?
Pod racing up the 101.
Oh, it's a small button.
Traffic. R2 on the roof of my Prius, dude. I could FaceTime holographic. I'd play for the A's and we'd
Still.
win every game. Resurrect Mac Dre, do it all for the Bay. They'd all say, hey, Lars is Nito, and always let me cut the line of El Theralito. 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some Jedi rhyme. So I said this rhyme I'm about to say. I fought the Sith, then it went this way. If I were a Jedi, bet I'd get all the ladies. I would mac it more than Dumbledore or Leto Atreides. If you try to strike me down, I'll just be more powerful. If I were a Jedi, that would be hella awesome. Singing do or do not, there is no try. Do or do not, there is no try. Do or do not, there is no
Something is fishy over here. Must be.
It's a trap. Hey, 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 hey. It's a trap.
Oh. No.
Summer nights, midnight skies, just you and I, living lives. Time is fading fast, and I hope it would last.
Let's tell us winner.
Work it out.
Winner. Something wrong here. True. This is working. But this is not. Oh. Something's wrong with this, I think. I should say this should be the other way around. Button on click equals to no. This one is now correct. Let's jump to move. Oops. That's the one. That's it. I think I misplaced. Did I do this? Yes, I did that. Come on! How easy can you fix it? Okay, let's status winner is winner, next player, next state, return class name, game board, board current, and now we can move the list object to moves. Moves. There you have it. Div and tag For each move in the tic-tac-toe game we create a list item which contains the button. The button has an on-click handler that we failed on with the angles handler which calls a method called this_jump_to. We have implemented the jump_to. We haven't implemented the jump_to yet. For now, we could see a list of moves that have occurred in the game, and the warning in the developer tools console say, warning, each child in an array or iterator should have a unique key prop. Check the render method of game. Let's check. discuss. I think it's fairly clear. React app. Click. I think I need to close this one and then and this. Let's build it again. Why is it not showing? Something else is wrong. Let's check this again. Showing the past moves. Return class name game. Div class name game board. Squares. Class name game. Div class name game board. Board squares. Current square. On click equals to I. This handle click I. Div game info. Div status. Object of lists. Div, that's correct. Okay. Let's restart this. Can we break somewhere? Handle click. This is the handle click of the game, I think. Yeah. Nine. Does it work? No. Okay. Each child in an array or iterator should have a unique key. Check the render method of game. Check the render method of game. Render method of game. Let's discuss what the above warning means. When we render a list, React stores some information about each rendered list item. When we update the list, React needs to determine what has changed. We could have added, removed, rearranged, or updated the items list. Imagine transition from Alexa 7 task list, Ben 5 to Ben 9 tasks. In addition to updated counts, a human reading, to update counts, a human reading this would probably say that we swapped Alexa and Ben's ordering and inserted Claudia between Ben. However, React computer program does not know what we intended because React cannot know our intentions. We need to specify a key property for each list item to differentiate each list item from its siblings. One option would be to use the string Alexa Ben Claudia. If we display data from database, Alexa Ben Claudia's database IDs could be used as an ID. When a list is re-rendered, React takes each list item key and searches the previous list item for a matching key. If the current list has a key that did not exist before, React creates a component. If the current list is missing a key that existed in the previous list, React destroys the previous component. If two keys match, the corresponding component is moved. Key tell React about the identity of each component, which allows React to maintain state between re-renders. Yeah. If a component's key changes, the component will be destroyed and recreated a new state. Key is a special reserved property in React, along with reference, which is an element created. The React extracts the key property and stores the key directly to the returned element. Even though key may look like it belongs to props, keys cannot be referenced using this props key. Very confusing. It's strongly recommended that you assign proper keys when you build dynamic lists. If you don't have an appropriate key, you may want to consider restructuring your data so that you do. If no key is specified, React will present a warning and use the array index check this in Chrome. There it is. There's a React thingy. Development build of React. Note that the development build is not suitable for production. No, I know. Make sure to use the production build before deployment. Open development tools and React to the right. Yeah. So now I click. I don't see any of the messages that we were pointed on. Okay. Let's get back to the example code. Let's see. Keys do not need to be globally unique, they only need to be unique between components and their siblings. Implementing time travel. In the tic-tac-toe game's history, each past move has a unique ID associated with it, the sequential number of the move. The moves are never reordered, deleted, or inserted in the middle, so it's safe to use the move index as a key. In the game components render method, we can add the keys as list item key is move. The game component, where are the moves? Step, move, the list item should have a key equals to the move ID. Something like this. There's move. So where was move specified? Comment. There he is. Let's map over the history in game's render method. Game, oh. No, this is moves. Okay. Apparently the variable doesn't need to be verified somehow. Oh, and I obviously need to save this. Stupid. Oh, what's this? This is not right. Oh, really? Okay. So there you have it. Go to game start. If there is a move, then go to move number, otherwise go to game start. There are no moves in here, so they're not showing. Go to game start. Oh, this jump 2 is not, oh, you have not implemented yet. Let's on click this props handle click. Props handle click is not a function. Index.js 18, so let's get over there. This one, that's on the board. Let's check if that's still correct. The board. Let's see, a key move. Clicking any of the list item button will throw an error jump 2, yeah. Before we implement jump 2, we add a step number to the game component state. Let's do one at a time. Before we implement jump 2, we add step number. Where do we step number to the game component state? Game component state. Somewhere here. Like this. Step number equals to 0. Not step mother. Next we define jump 2 method in game. Where's the handle click? There's the handle click. It's not changed. Jump 2 step. This set state step number set to step. X is next. Step modulo 2 equals to 0. Something like this. We now make a few changes to the game's handle click method, which fires when you click on square. the step number we state we added to reflect the move displayed to the user. Now after we make a new move, we need to update the step number by adding step number history length. Distracting my where were we? Step number added to need to update step number. Also reading state history, this history slides to ensure that if we go back in time and then make a next move, we throw away all the future history that would now become incorrect. Yes. Smart. Handle click. History. Handle click. Const history equals to this state history dot slice 0, comma, what is this? Start number 0. This state step number plus 1. End of line. Const current is history length minus 1. Squares, current square slice. If calculate winners unchanged, return unchanged squares, this state x non x, then state unchanged. This set state histories concat square step number. Step number history dot length comma x is next is this, not this is next. Then finally we modify the games component render method. Games component render method. Game render like this. Const history, state history. Const current is history, this state. This state step number. Const winner equals to calculate current squares. This is basically just jumping to the step number that from the specific state. Now let's see. So let's play you tic-tac-toe. Oh, I'm so exhausted from all this hard work. Let's save this. Save. Now it's rebuilding. Oh. 117 has an error. 117. 117. Okay. Is this in the sample code? Ah, indeed, 3. Another .NET tricky thing for .NET developers. If you go to JavaScript, you have the option to get triple equals. Save. This is one compiled successfully. Yeah, React app, rerun. Oh. This is not a function. This is the board, render square. Do we still need that? Where's the board? Render square. Render square. The board only needs render square and render, yeah. View full code. Let's see. Board on click. Value this props return. Square. Value this props squares. I on click this props. Oh shit. On click. It's called handle click over here, but it's no longer needed, I think. Handle. See? It said board only needs render square and render. Board only needs render square and render. The game state and handle click should be in the game component. So board here's the board, render square, render. Oh. Render square, render. There is nothing more here. But but here it's handle click. On the game it is also handle click. So what's wrong with this handle click then? Let's see. Set props on click. Yeah, I know. Because the game has handle click, but it's triggered on click. So this should be called not handle click, but on click. Typo. Props on click. Save this. Yeah. Now, let's see. Close this. Let's reload. X. Now we see go to move 0, 1. Okay, it actually works. Let's see. We already did that. Yeah, step number. Wrapping up. So if you have extra time or you want to practice his React skills, here are some ideas to improve. For improvements that could make to the tic-tac-toe game, which are listed in order of increased difficulties. Display the location of each move in the format call row in the move history list. Move for each move. Let's see. So One other thing that you might wonder if you restart this, it says go to game start, but if you click it's already there, so why is it showing this one? So when it starts, it should not show this one. This one. If there's nothing, if it's starting, you shouldn't have go to game start. It should only show one less. Because if the move description go to game start. Okay, let's quit this for now. And have a look at some fabric UI fabric items. Now that we are masters in React, save this all. Save. Close this. Close this. So we now play the final. Let's see the final result in here. X. Game start. See, it's showing always one too many. That needs a fix. Tutorial. Let's see what the issues are in here. Issues. Visual diagram. It's not mentioned in here that they're showing a button too many, I think. Or maybe there are, but you see so many items here. Okay, let's close this, and now let's go and find clear everything. Let's clean up so a little bit in the meantime. Okay. Then we go to look for Google again. UI Fabric. Home of UI Fabric. Creating amazing experiences. Get started. It's this one. Get started. UI Fabric is the web, only two flavors, Fabric React and Fabric Core. Last time we were looking at the Fabric Core item where we can just create some icons and stuff. In this case we're going to start with this. Gatsby. Next step with styling and theming. Core we already did. Use design language in your site. Okay, let's start on the top of this. UI Fabric, the web React. There's one open source React frontend. If it's seamless, get started with Fabric React. Yes, that's what I expected. It's just going down. Getting started development of Fabric React is simple. Quickly try it. Fabric React, you can use our Hello World templates on CodePen or Code Sandbox. CodePen. Okay. CodePen, that's the one. Or Code Sandbox. Oh, that's interesting. Looks like the code itself. Put the light on. Oops. Shine a light on me. Shine a light on me. Okay. Hello world. No, we're not going to do this because we are going to do the official way. Add to an existing project. No. Option 1, quick start. Let's see. Open a terminal. CMD. NPM. Let's check first. NPM out list. What's this thing? Oh. Darn. It's just npm outdated global.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through.
What?
Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me
npm list depth equals 0. What's this?
so alive. Make it last forever. Stop in time. Yeah,
What's going on? npm update.
chemicals collide.
npm list global.
Dripping lights paint the skies,
Yeah. npm outdated global. Interesting. Ten 16 0 node or node yes yeah. npm list outdated should work. think I was doing this. Why is it now working? Come on. NPM outdated global. Keep messing around with this NPM thing. NPM outdated. NPM global outdated. I'm not sure what's this. NPM update global. TypeScript was updated. Now it works. Was it TypeScript? See users live coder to live coder to no live coder to app data. Why can't I copy that? See users live code to app data users live coder app data roaming npm cache logs 1906 1820 13 cannot read property length of undefined at dot index. Very strange. Okay, let's just ignore this. And continue with our tutorial. No, not the tutorial, the UI fabric. So CMD data projects. Make directly test UI fabric. Oh. Run test. Oh. So what did it say? npm init UI fabric. So much you need to do to just build some simple stuff. Using Visto, I would have built 3 applications in the time of all of this. Deprecated. Use left pad 1.30. Use string prototype pad start. Yeah. Yes, taking a long time, summer night. Oh, that's not right. I'm starting my second entry of vmix. This is going wrong. Are we still up and running? Let's check. Yeah, still up and running. Finally, it's done. Unable to auto-detect email address. So why did it get my email address? Got live coded to something. Looks like you may not have Git installed. Or there's some sort of error initializing the Git repo. I do have Git installed. Let's see what's it saying over here. Init UI fabric deprecated. Node cache bin. Binary found. Binding node, testing binary webpack. Thanks for using webpack. Consider blah blah. Created log file. Added 189 packages from 678 contributors. Wow, and audited 875,925 packages in 129 seconds. 0 vulnerabilities. Line feeds will be replaced. Okay. Run git config global user email to set your run config to set your account default identity. Looks like you may not have Git installed or there is some sort of error. Please make sure you have Git installed. Git. Git. I have Git installed. Git. CD projects test UI fabric. That's where I'm now, right now. Yeah. Git init. Git add dot. Git add dot. Git commit command. Git commit. Git commit. Initial. Commit. Commit. Git config. User email. Git config. Global user email. Git config global user name. Maarten van Stam. Git commit. There you are. Okay. Next. npm start. Clean. Welcome to UI Fabric app. What is 0? This is the default page. Let's make this a little bigger. Oh. For a guide how to customize this project, check out UI Fabric documentation, essential links, docs, Stack Overflow, GitHub, Twitter, design, type, icons, typography, theme. Yes, okay. So that's one. That's option one. Open a terminal window, go to the folder. If you call the project My App. Prompt you for a project name. It never prompted me for a project name. Is it? Did it? Did I miss that? Don't think so. Open app.tsx file and start editing. Usually you'll get changes in the browser seconds after you hit save. This just scaffold uses the just build library. It's very flexible and requires no eject script to allow customizing configuration. Okay. So that's still running this. Let's get into another browser. CD data, CD projects, CD test. Oh, test. What? Oh, there you are. Code dot there you have. What's this? Source control. Components. There you have this, the React component. So we are into the 2-hour strike right now for welcome to my first UI Fabric app by Maarten van Stam. Now we should say something. There you have it. Woohoo! This is yeah, there you have it. So we're 2 hours into the session. We finished the React tutorial, building a tic-tac-toe item where we could remember the history of these, of the steps, and restore that. Then we created the starter application for the first UI Fabric app by Maarten van Stam. That's me doing the office development. As I remember right now, I did forget to switch my Twitter handle to live coding. Stupid. But anyway, next time we will go into the details of UI Fabric. And let's see if we can do something proper with it, other than building a tic-tac-toe starter. So, this ends the session for today. We will be back. I will be back next Tuesday No, not next Tuesday. Because what's next Tuesday? Google. June 25, Ziggo Dome. What's in the Ziggo Dome? Next week, Tuesday 25, I'm going to Kiss with my son and having a good time for the last end of the tour, end of the road world tour. I see there's still seats available. Nowadays you have to pay more for seated places. Usually in old times the first rank standing was most expensive, but they changed it because people apparently prefer to sit down. So next Tuesday I will be at the Ziggo Dome in Amsterdam, going to see Kiss. And here's a playlist. I'm not going to play it, otherwise I'm getting my ban again. But let's see, maybe I can start doing some live coding again on Monday then. It's 6 days, 21 hours and 28 minutes. Wow, can't wait for this. I've seen them a couple of times before. Go way back to the 70s and 80s. And really going to look forward for this. And so next, again, I think June 24 will be my next live coding session. And I'm also planning to do some live gaming, but still have to decide what to do there. For now, let's end the show. Oh, I even did nothing on my hair. Let's end the show for today because we're 2 hours in yet and I need to get some sleep before work tomorrow. Otherwise I won't be able to stay awake in my chair. So see you next week on Maarten van Stam's Office live coding, and hopefully we do some real Office development next time instead of learning more frameworks from other vendors. Bye bye.